Travis Wayne Goodsill. As I tricked the prophets this morning, as their YouTube minions were at their beck and call waiting for me to shut down my internet when I tried to upload my video, assuming it was my Wednesday video. And technically it is my Wednesday video because it's Wednesday, but it wasn't directed at the prophets per se. And if you're wondering, this isn't either per se. But that won't stop YouTube. They're pissed that I reported on the church for the dangerous and deadly video that Nelson did. So I'm being blamed and retaliated against for Nelson's video. Do you understand this? I've gone over this with you. This is a bullying tactic. Bullies attack. They name call. They taunt. They terrorize. They will not relent. If you complain, they retaliate. If you submit, they keep going and they escalate until you're dead. But they love the game, so they'll try to drag it out for as long as it amuses them. This is bullies. This is the church. And so as we are in the latter days, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the church is involved in the war strategies. Have you noticed what they've been doing since Nelson? They've been working with our enemies. And a temple yet to be determined, a major city yet to be determined in Russia. Yeah, where's that temple? Oh, will these things take? Do they? Do they? No. It was a business arrangement for a very specific purpose. The church gave Russia money. Russia used that money to attack America. That's a crime called treason, aiding and abetting the enemy. But it also serves another purpose that needs to be understood. And so one of my regulars is going to get bored. He knows who he is. We're going to talk about game theory or war strategy. And obviously the art of war, I did that video not too long ago, but there's more to add to it because we're in another phase that precedes an attack, as we are 2 days away from Trump becoming president again. He's never lost the presidency. Somebody should teach him about the Civil War and what the Confederates did. And he knows this, but nonetheless, it's all part of the game. What we have in America is obvious civil division. It began with the election in 2000 that came down to Florida, where Jeb Bush was governor, and so Jeb Bush caused a little snafu in a town where the people had been voting for decades. They knew how to vote. They knew who they were voting for. Oh, all of a sudden, they've all got dementia. They may have voted for the wrong candidate. And so Jeb Bush took it to the Supreme Court of Florida. And wouldn't you know it, Supreme Court of Florida voted for his brother to win. It's supposed to go through Congress, not the Supreme Court, let alone the Supreme Court of a state. Nonetheless, the Democratic candidate withdrew. He shouldn't have. But, nonetheless, we've been divided ever since. They've been pretty close elections. I'm assuming it was sufficient enough for Obama to win by landslides over the Mormon. Mitt Romney, if you're clueless. I'd rather vote black than Mormon. That should tell Mormons something, that America still loathes the church. And they are not going to put in a Mormon. They'd rather put in a black man. That's just how it is. Sorry, Mormons. Your power only resides in Utah. And so the church knows this. And so they've got to work with our enemies. They've got to make some deals, pull in some favors by doing them favors, quid pro quos. And so, what does our scripture prophecy tell us about what's going to happen in these days, right now? Well, there's going to be bloodshed, wars, rumors of wars. There's going to be natural disasters and burning like a fire. And it ain't the Spirit. The Spirit of God like a fire is burning. And so the church knows disasters and destructions and death are coming. They know this. They know we're in the latter days, but how are they presenting it to Mormons? Well, 2014, 2015, there was that tetrad in the signs in the heavens, where 3 Mormon apostles died. Not 3 Catholics, not 3 Christians, not 3 Jews. Mormon prophets died under signs in the heaven. And I did the video of the patterns of signs in the heavens of the latter days as prophesied. Lunar eclipses and the deaths of only Mormon prophets. Not Catholics, not Jews, not Christian, Mormon. Isn't that interesting? That there seems to be a divine entity who's warning us with signs in the heavens, as Mormon prophets are the ones who are dying. But the church ignores it, tells Mormons, nope, this is not the latter days. These are not signs of the latter days. You should just prepare generally, because that's what you're supposed to do. And so there were certain Mormons who said, no, this is it. This is scriptural prophecy being fulfilled. We disagree with you. Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, for example. And so they went off the deep end with their faith crisis. Instead of joining Christianity and leaving the church, they decided to turn into Mormon killers, Mormon murderers, and labeled their children as zombies so that they can justify murdering them too, in a horrific, brutal manner. I just did the faith crisis video this morning. I explain it. So you can plug in Lori and Chad into that equation. They were religiously insecure, and when the prophets disagreed with them, they took it personally and had a faith crisis, and chose instead to be brutal, like the mother-in-law example that I gave in this morning's video. And so, what has the church been doing after denying that we're in the second coming, as Mormons call it, right? Find it, doesn't exist. It does say, I'm coming again. That's an error in Scripture. It needs to be translated correctly. Again, it's the code that I did yesterday. Doctrine and Covenants was all encoded, not 7 chapters dealing with the United Order, like the Wikipedia page tells us. You see, again, more misinformation and disinformation. Seeing a pattern in parallel with Trump and MAGA and Q. This is what the enemy does when they are commencing an attack. We are at war, civil and world. And like I said earlier, we have moved up to a new phase of the attack. And so Monson dies under a lunar eclipse with a sign from Revelation as well. Revelation chapter 12 verse 4. Stars falling from the tail of the dragon. The quadrantid meteor showers. And Draco at his tail during Monson's death. Again, a Mormon prophet fulfilling scriptural prophecy of the latter days. Not a Catholic pope, not an evangelical televangelist or any kind of other Christian leader, not a Jew, Mormon. This is a pattern. Not only are the signs in the heavens a pattern that I went over, but yes, Mormons dying exclusively are part of that pattern. This should be telling the church something, and they do know of that because they released their General Handbook of Instructions that was exclusive to only leaders, and now they've made it general for the public. Since 2020, what happened in 2020 that would cause them to think maybe we should release publicly our General Handbook only for leaders? Coronavirus! Again, prophecy fulfilled, section 45, verse 31. What did Nelson do? Oh, right, the video he's not getting banned for. And there are other videos. I already had it set up. The church must be banned from social media because they are deceiving the public, creating dangerous videos that are leading to death. Holding 2 fasts to cure coronavirus, and then a healing power of gratitude to cure coronavirus. And then the other day, they release an article on the church news or on their website about, oh, I attended church and was healed. That's dangerous and deadly. The church must be banned. Why was Trump banned? Well, he was no longer president, so yeah, they were easily able to do it then. But it took until he was taken out of the presidency. And it's this kind of punishment that is reversed by the enemy as part of the attack strategy. You have to cut off communications of your enemy before you do a physical attack. And so all of you who are familiar with the concerns when we went digital and went on the internet and everything was digital, and movies were coming out about the dangers of going digital, our enemy can simply shut down the internet and our electricity, and we're in a communications blackout. That has begun. We don't see it yet. Again, they're testing it. They're testing to see how far they can get away with it. It has begun. I've warned the proper authorities, but they don't seem to care. It's almost as if they're aiding and abetting the enemy too. Isn't that great? Does that explain why Trump is not locked up yet? Yeah. Again, bullies retaliate when you complain. They escalate when you submit. And don't hold them accountable. And so this year, things have gotten worse for our environment. A drought. The whole West is now in a drought. We're not going to have water next year. We require our mountains to have massive snowpack in order to provide us with water for the next year. Without a snowpack, we have no water. The flood we had, which was also part of the climate problem because of the drought. We had to let our grass die off. That makes it so that water floods rather than soaks into the soil because of the vegetation. Another problem, without vegetation, we don't have photosynthesis, so that we as the biological animal life, human life, have air to breathe. So when the Amazon burned down, that was pretty serious. When Putin nuked his whole forest, and if you're unfamiliar with Russia, it's a pretty large stretch of land, he nuked it. So yes, we are in a crisis emergency. But again, Scripture prophecy fulfilled. But these were all preventable had it not been for our enemy, who's purposely fulfilling Scripture for the latter days. And so, yes, we were told at the beginning of coronavirus, we must stop it now. We must do what China did, which is suppress Hong Kong. Isn't that coincidental? They're at war with Hong Kong. They're having trouble. Hong Kong's rebelling. and fighting back, what do? Oh, look, what a coincidental confirmation, coronavirus. You guys all have to stay home and stay safe for your safety. And then we'll track you and identify you when you get your shot for the vaccine. But yeah, they were already tagged and bagged when they were tested for coronavirus. But yeah, coronavirus was controlled in China. There were a few flare-ups here and there, but it was controlled. But here in America, nope, it's a hoax. Inject yourself with disinfectants. Go to church, it'll heal you. It's taking away your agency. Show it who's boss and go to church. And YouTube has not banned any of them. Bednar was the one who came out and said the coronavirus was taking away our agency. That still has the most thumbs down ever of any of my videos. It's not me, it was him. And yet, I'm the one being blamed for what Bednar said. Mormons have some real problems in comprehension and identifying who their real enemy is. Again, only Mormon prophets are fulfilling scriptural prophecy. So I need to keep repeating that until you understand, or at least are brainwashed into believing it. There's also been some other things that I exclusively have been pointing out to you. The major one is that Nelson is going on a full Christian, not Christian thing. What happened to Jesus according to the gospel narrative? Well, he was hung on a cross, he died, buried in a tomb, resurrected, told his wife, "Don't touch me, woman, I have not yet ascended," and then he apparently ascends because he's now eating and drinking with the brethren. Well, we learn, yes, he did ascend, because he came on the 8th of April 2024 to the indigenous people of America and said, "Hey, touch me." You're not paying attention to my videos, are you? And so, yes, ascension is essential for who our God is. The Assumption of Mary is this Sunday. That's her ascension. And notice, because there's another version, latest version, still on the church's website. He is risen. Risen or ascended? See our hymn. Joseph ascended, that prophet and seer. Ascended, not risen, ascended. And I can't get it through to people. They don't seem to know the significance of who the one deity in Mormon theology who does not get to ascend, whose symbol Brigham Young ordered to have put on the Nauvoo Temple and on the keystone of the temple at headquarters. Salt Lake, Temple Square, Salt Lake Temple. maybe it's religious insecurity that is shocking Mormons. That they can't come to grips with it, and so they're overindulging in Mormon lies to protect themselves, to make them feel secure, which is a false sense of security. Again, carrying on with the video I did this morning. Similar to the different tactic used by Chad Morey. And so we see that the church is working with our enemies. We see the church is helping with the extermination and genocide of humans. They're doing their part to fulfill prophecy, as Mormon prophets are the only ones from religion who are fulfilling prophecy. But what else has Nelson been doing? Temples. He's been increasing the temples. Now, if you didn't know, the church under Hinckley downsized temples. This was to make them more affordable, and they were still in the conservative phase of requiring a number of elders, thus tithe payers who were able to go to the temple, to be at a certain population level, which is about 30,000, well, yeah, it's 30,000 in population, in order for a temple to be placed in that area. Because the tithing generated from about 30,000 elders is enough to build a temple. And that's how they were doing it. So Mormon population growth equals temple growth. Notice that the church's membership numbers have been dropping. That was the consequences, though, because the first phase of the Mormon collapse was 2011, I think it was, because I think the video came out in 2000, or the news came out in 2012. Mormons, who were originally faithful, were just giving up, they're being less active. And it was called a Mormon Exodus. Mormons were abandoning the church. Just not going, not participating, not sending in a letter of resignation. They just stopped. We want nothing to do with this. We're out. And that was a mass exodus that occurred in 2011 with the advent of the internet. And so, yeah, the church tried to stop it. Too late. Trying to ban people from trusting the information on the internet, vilifying it. Oh, anybody's able to put anything on the internet. So yes, what has the church been doing? Just look at Wikipedia for anything church-related. Can't trust Wikipedia for the church information. You have to know how to see through the lies and make connections elsewhere to tie in to the information so that you can find out the real truth about church history. So, see what they did there? And so this lack of membership growth, because of the lack of active membership, it's phases. You have a hollowed out church, and then the 16 million isn't generating the percentage growth it's supposed to if there were 16 million active Mormons. It's generating the growth the decline because of the lack of active members. That's what we're now seeing. Now the news is reporting on it, and they're baffled. Oh no, how did it... Seriously? Come on, guys. We all knew this would happen, right? Why do I have to be the exclusive information on this? All businesses understand this. When your employees stop coming to work, you're eventually going to see problems financially. It may take a while, maybe a couple hours, but eventually you'll see collapse in the business. But notice the church, despite this decline in membership, has been increasing temples, especially under Nelson. Building temples in places that don't even have enough elders, let alone tithe payers. Yeah, this is another part of the enemy's war strategy. Because again, there's destruction prophesied. The wicked around the world are going to be destroyed. Well, if you're a Mormon, if you're not Mormon and active and from Utah, everybody else is wicked. So that's a massive death count. So what's going to happen after everybody's dead? Well, only Mormons will be left, right? No, Mormons also know that there will still be others who won't be Mormon, and Mormons think that then they can easily convert them to join the church, and everybody will then assimilate. We are Borg. Resistance is futile. And so, having land ownership is crucial when there's no leadership, no government on the land. If you remember our early days of American history, we had the indigenous people living relatively peacefully, and then the white man came and killed them off with diseased blankets, and then enslaved them, and then pushed them west, kicking them out of their homes, causing an exodus, a forced exodus. Gee, just like now. Well, we're just waiting for that final trigger moment. That's part of what's called colonization, and that's part of game strategy or war theory or whatever you want to call it. Is that when you want to conquer other lands, you want to make it as easy as possible to conquer. Because if you just do it as a battle to the death until the last man is standing, like Coriantumr, who chopped off Shiz's head, and then Shiz, without a head, was able to lift up, gasp final breath, and then collapse in his gore. An awesome literary tale. But that's one tactic, and that's the version that China used on Hong Kong. As Hong Kong has now been suppressed, and it's now part of China. And they've all been tagged and bagged for the social control system. that China has already been utilizing. And now they're seeking their sights on Taiwan. But you'll notice that that's not the case in America. It's been a slow escalation. Little by little, eroding our rights, freedoms, liberties, murdering, destroying, little by little. And now this year, it's reaching the boiling point. Literally. The news is saying we're looking at an eventual environmental collapse where the earth will no longer be able to tolerate what we're doing to it. And we're going to have major disasters of 3rd Nephi chapter 8 proportions. What a coincidence. Coincidental confirmation. And 8 to 11 is 8, 9, 10, 11. I did this in yesterday's video. And then we're 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh! 8 April 2024. Except we don't have a temple in Zion yet. I mean, Bountiful yet. And we're not talking the Bountiful Temple of the Mormons. Because remember, the Mormon prophets are fulfilling prophecy of the latter days. They're not warning that Amos 3:7 says they're supposed to do. They're participating in the murder. And so, yes, I'm not surprised that the church has also gone silent for the last couple of weeks. And it's partly because of me, with my Wednesday videos, which this not necessarily per se is the Wednesday video for the prophets, because I'm talking to you guys, right? So YouTube has no reason whatsoever to shut down my internet when I try to upload this video, like they did this morning, right? But yes, the church has gone silent. They've cut off communications with Mormons. They put up a guy from Bolivia who says attending church heals. And that's pretty much it. They're still planning for the future. Is it Bednar, or did he already do it? The Abundant Life Conference. I think he already did it. But still? Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Good. West Jordan is so warped. Tell me a time frame of when you're coming. This is my last blue pen, I found out. So, I need to buy more. And there's other communications shutdowns that are occurring that are not just me and my YouTube videos to warn you of the danger. Mine being silenced. But remember when Trump said that the press was the enemy of the people? And we now have journalistic heroes who stood up to Trump. One of them is, I can't remember her name, but she works for PBS. Trump insulted her right there in the press conference, and she just stood and still asked her question. She's a hero. The other guy who works for CNN was banned from the White House, and then Trump was forced to give him back his credentials. He's a hero. But Trump did nothing when the Saudi Arabian prince, son of Solomon, ordered the hit on the Washington Post journalist, Khashoggi. Actually said, he's very strong and persuasive. Like Putin, my bestest buddy. I wonder if they have that on DVD. It may be too late to buy it now, but we'll see. Our cartoon president DVD. What do you know? They do have it. For season 1, 2, and 3. Huh. Alright, well. These are classic entertainment. The one in season 3 with Trump doing his singing solo, that was just awesome. If you didn't see that, you'll need to. It was well worth it. And then 3. I Alone Can Fix That. I got that book. Yep, he ordered deaths. Okay. They're on my shopping list. Whether I'll ever buy them, we'll have to see after Thursday or Friday, the 13th. That's Freddy, right? Freddy Krueger? No, Jason. I should know better. And Freddy is 1, 2, buckle your shoe, 3, 4, shut the door. Yep, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, so it's Jason. It's Friday the 13th. Right? It has nothing to do with the Knights Templar of the Joseph Sr. saving America and being a real American hero that nobody knows about, because nobody's watching my videos either. Nope, has nothing to do with that as to why I know all about this stuff right now. The Book of Mormon Code, rated R. I mean, seriously, shiz, R, come on guys. And then there's Jezebel, and then there's Amlici, then the guy who killed Gideon, who helped Limhi escape from the Lamanite attack, as King Noah was the wicked one under that one. So yeah, the Book of Mormon should be rated R. So the church's videos, whatever. Not real according to the book. The book is better. Read the damn book. That technically is my breakout video. On both channels. That was fun. So I thank the guy who has now gone silent after I communicated to him, I'm not Mormon friendly. You have a mistaken understanding of who I am. So yes, I've been communicating with him, and he's now gone silent after I explained to him. I explained to him the code, actually. He just didn't understand why I support Joseph and not the church. That's confusing to him. It has to be all or nothing, right, ex-Mormons? Right, Mormons? Yeah. And so a communications blackout is where we're at, and the temples are for land ownership, so that after the destruction, the church can say, hey, we own part of this land. Here's our documents. And so, since we own land here and you have no government, our president will now be your king. Because what's supposed to happen for the millennium, after the destruction of the world and the governments all collapse? Yeah, Constantine, historical Jesus, comes flying out of outer space, not on a horse like the Christians believe, but in a pillar of light, to Adamon-Diamond. Adamon-Diamon's been canceled, in case you didn't know. Zion's right here in Utah, Salt Lake, Temple Square, where the falling star is our keystone now. Yeah, the risen, not ascended Jesus. He's going to be King of Kings, Lord of Lords, to sit on his throne throughout the millennium, to rule the whole world. That's the church's understanding. That's why they've been doing what they've been doing. They're setting things in motion to make it so, number one. And return and report. Yeah. Like I said, you should be scared and terrified for what the church is planning and plotting and doing. They are murdering to purge, so that only the pure Mormons who are leaders, sorry those of you who are not leaders who thought you would be protected too. Nope. See, now Delta virus is attacking the kids. And wouldn't you know it? School's about to start again. What happened last year when we didn't close the schools for coronavirus and we sent them back to school? But they were wearing masks, right? Doesn't matter. Masks don't protect you, they protect others. So when you got kids in the cafeteria eating their lunches, they're not wearing their masks. And so school, along with church, because the kids in primary infect each other, go to school, infect the schools. We saw that pattern. Utah has the coronavirus website where we can witness church as a super spreader, and then school facilitating it until the next Sunday. So does church heal? No, it murders. That's why Nelson's videos are so deadly and dangerous, and the church needs to be banned from YouTube. So, like I said, we are entering into the communications blackout period. They're testing it. Another thing that Homeland Security has announced is that they're concerned that Trump's followers will do something on Friday the 13th. Because the internet chat rooms of MAGA have escalated their talk about warfare. But notice Trump's gone silent, just like the church has gone silent. just like the church released the latest update of the handbook, the coveted handbook, putting in the committees. They're allowing Mormons who survive the apocalypse, if prophets also aren't able to continue the church, to continue the church of who? Which God? The risen, not ascended God of the falling star God. Shouldn't have to explain him, as I've done it numerous times already. But yeah, if you want also coincidental confirmation, Albert Pike, remember him? He was the Scottish Rites who claimed that he was also Illuminati, which is correct, because Brigham Young, Scottish Rites, and the falling star of the Illuminati. Why didn't you know it? They're on the same team. Yeah, he says that we're going to cause 3 world wars, and the last one, we're going to destroy Christianity and replace it with the doctrine of Lucifer. So, doctrine, that's religion. Trump's not religious. He's read Hitler's works, not the Bible. So yes, again, it's a pattern that only Mormon prophets are involved with the signs of the latter days. No other religion. And their religion is, yep, you guessed it, the doctrine of Lucifer. Sorry, Mormons, you've been deceived. Oh, that's also a prophecy of the latter days, that the elect will be deceived. Good job, you fulfilled prophecy. I hope you're not expecting to be exalted or ascended.